All right, time now for Place Your Bets, brought to you by JonAnik.com. Check out our merchandise store at JonAnik.com. Great way to support the Anik and Florian podcast, paying guys like Petrie and Ken Flo. Right now, you can get 20% off all items with code OneMoreSleep. You see Ken Flo wearing one of the designs, as is Brian Petrie wearing the Ray Longo Minute shirt. And I got the Select Your Fighter offering this week. And I do have to say, and this is not at all a promotion, but I've been looking for nice socks for a long time. And the guys at Engage, Israel Adesanya, and Alexander Volkanovski's company sent me this package in advance of UFC 298. These are the best socks I've ever owned, right? Like they're black socks I will be wearing on every UFC broadcast now until the end of time. So check out Engage if you're looking for socks. I don't know that we have Anik and Florian podcast socks as yet at JonAnik.com. All right, place your bets. We will update the standings here. Both of these gentlemen have $1,000 to spend every week. They do not have to spend that money, but they are certainly encouraged to do so. So Brian Petrie was plus $55.86 heading into UFC Fight Night Dolidze versus Imavov. Another good night, BP. 3-1 on your bets. That included a $200 underdog hit on Charles Radke at plus 180, plus $360 there. Straight wager on Randy Brown for $400 and minus 245. That paid over $163. You had $300 on Nassourdine Imavov at minus 166. That paid $180 and 72 cents. You did give $100 back on a Drew Dober by knockout proposition, but a strong week nonetheless. Plus $603.99 brings your year-to-date total to $659.85. Team Florian now firmly in the black as well. You were down $120 on the year. You spent $500 of your 1K last week, and it was all initially on a 3-leg parlay, but the Aliaskhab Khizriev no contest made it a 2-leg parlay. You cashed both legs. Renato Moicano and Randy Brown. So that paid out plus 142. So your $500 parlay returned $710.14, bringing your year-to-date total to $589.32. We also shout out Big Ron Pellegrino, Anik and Florian podcast parlay hit. So Big Ron 2-1 on the year. Congratulations to him. He's probably going to kill me for pitching Hidalgo, Texas instead of Las Vegas as a UFC host city. But congrats to Big Ron as well. Brian Petrie, the floor is yours. You have $1,000 to spend. UFC Fight Night, Hermansson versus Pyfer.
So real quick before I get to that, I'm not in the merch business. I'm not an idea guy, but I think we should have Place Your Bets. If that's going to be the name of this segment right here. Some t-shirts on JonAnik.com. I'll buy all of them. I'll buy all of them, baby. I like that. All right. So my money's good. I literally, one of these times I'm going to go $1,000 nuts on the table on one guy. It almost was Joe Pyfer. I almost put 500 on Joe Pyfer, money line, 500 by finish. We'll chase that when it comes. Probably low minus money if I had to guess. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to spread it out a little bit. I'm going to go Joe Pyfer $500. So 500 bones at minus 225 or whatever the current line is we have right now. I like that. I think Joe Pyfer wins. That's solid. Then I'm going to go Pratis minus 218 at $300. Googly eye for the young kid. I think that southpaw is something to be fierce, dangerous. And then I'm going to go a little underdog hunting here, a little dog hunting here. Brad Tavares, $200 on Brad Tavares. Again, I really like that matchup for him. And I just think RoboCop can be vulnerable.
All right, $200 to close out your bets on Brad Tavares, plus 205. Petrie trying to build on an outstanding start here in 2024. Ken Flo, what are we doing with our up to 1,000 American dollars this week?
Yeah, very interesting. When I was putting this together, trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do, certainly was looking something very similar to what Brian Petrie just did, but I'm going to switch things up just a little bit. I think there's value here on Petrosian. I think that on the feet, he's going to be extremely dangerous. I think that he's going to have to stop those takedowns, no question about it. But I do think Vieira is still a little vulnerable there. I hate going against one of the legends in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Vieira, but I do see some nice value there in Petrosian. So I'm going to throw 300 on Petrosian there as slight underdog there.
Yep.
But then the rest is going to go on Pyfer, man. I want to put 700 on Pyfer. I feel pretty confident with that one. And not only do I think he can win, I think he can get the finish. Not going to bet that, but I'm betting Pyfer for the win, 700.
Nice.
All right, nicely done, gentlemen. Place your bets. We'll update the standings next week and do your homework. I think I have 9 fights that we will preview for UFC 98 Volkanovski versus Topuria coming up on February 17th. If you want more content from Brian Petrie, and why would you not, the MMA Takes podcast can be in your life if you so desire. At Brian Petrie MMA on X, my man. Have a great day and a better evening. We'll talk to you next week for a big one.
You're the best, boys. I'll see you.
There he is, Brian Petrie, with us for the main event challenge and also place your bets. All right, that is going to do it for us this show, but not this week. We are back this Saturday, likely to be joined by Bilal, remember the name Muhammad, for our watch party. It'll be about 8:15 p.m. Eastern until the end of the fight card. So certainly when Dan Ige or Andre Feely hits the inspection zone, you can go to the Anik and Florian podcast YouTube channel, and Ken Flo, myself, and a collection of others will be live. Also, don't forget jonanik.com for all your merchandise needs. Remember the show with Jason Anik and Bilal Muhammad every Thursday on the Anik and Florian podcast YouTube channel. KennyFlorianMartialArts.com is worth your time. Argus Integrated Defense and A&R Tactics on Instagram. Guys just fucking getting after it. They'll save your life. Can't let you get too close. Distance is your friend. And don't forget, later this week, Big Ron Pellegrino will also have another Anik and Florian podcast parlay for you as well. He is 2-1 on the year. Thanks to Brian Petrie and our director/executive producer, Cody Merrow, who just continues to enhance the overall aesthetic of the program. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Kenny. For Ken Flo, I'm Jon Anik. We'll talk to you guys Saturday night for the watch party. Until then, yo later. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. All right, so it's time for us to now rifle through some of our wagers on this game. We were each given $1,000. I just want to set something up very quickly, if I could, on the front end of that. So last meeting between the 49ers and the Chiefs, October of 2022, it was actually the first game in which Brock Purdy threw a pass in the NFL, came on for Jimmy Garoppolo in a game the Chiefs won 44-23. Niners actually had more first downs in that game, but I thought that was kind of a neat nugget, even though there's nothing from that game that you can actually extract. One thing that I think is interesting. The Chiefs have played 20 games this year. Only 4 times has Patrick Mahomes thrown for more than 300 yards. And in those games, the numbers 305, 306, 305, and then 424 against the Chargers. So one 400-plus yard passing game of the year, and the few that were over 300 yards were barely. Juxtaposed against his 2022, Mahomes had 11 games in which he threw for more than 300 yards, and a lot of those were robust totals. So the total right now for this game, Patrick Mahomes passing yards in the Super Bowl, is set at 260 and a half. And I'm inclined to go over, but I just thought it was interesting just how prolific a passing attack they had a year ago, at least statistically, relative to this season.
Interesting stuff. Before we get to the props, just indulge me slightly more on the legacy and these Super Bowl records for these quarterbacks. I recently flipped on the greatest basketball player of all time, right? I was at the UFC basketball game, UFC fight, International Fight Week last week. And some just out of the blue, someone comes up to me with a video camera on my face, asked me LeBron or Jordan, right? And I was always Michael Jordan, but I said LeBron in the moment. And I've heard people argue back to me, well, Jordan's 6-0 in the finals, right? Okay. So yeah, Montana 4-0, whatever it may be, but Brady 7-3, right? I can't state this enough for Patrick Mahomes. If he wants to get where he wants to go, like this is an enormous one. It's tough to get back there. Patriots in some of their best seasons didn't win Super Bowls. I have also heard about just the Brock Purdy thing that, he's a 49ers quarterback forever if he wins this game. Do you know what I mean? For the rest of his career. But if he doesn't win this game, is he still that guy? I just think it is so fascinating. Kyle Shanahan, there's so many moving parts, a rematch. I just love this game. And I know we're going to move into the bullshit with propositions, but there's so much meat with this matchup.
Well, and my proposition bets aren't bullshit. I do have a $12 wager at the end on tails, but everything else is rooted in not bullshit and actual research. But there's a lot of different ways that you could attack the board. And I also don't agree that if Brock Purdy wins this game, that he is going to be the San Francisco 49ers quarterback for the rest of his career. I mean, Jared Goff got the Rams to a Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. And had he won that game, I don't think he'd still be in LA necessarily.
But he didn't. When you win a Super Bowl, it's a different conversation.
All right. So we have $1,000 with which to wager. So I am going to rifle through. I have 9 selections right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. One that I did not place a bet on is the player to have the first rush attempt of 10 yards or more. Christian McCaffrey, the favorite at -120. Isaiah Pacheco plus 225. I think McCaffrey's going to be the first to have a rush of 10 yards or more, but I didn't have enough money left. All right, here we go. First bet for me, $118 to pay 100 on the Kansas City Chiefs plus 2. certainly that opinion aligns with our two sharp handicappers that were on the program today. Next selection for me, $100 to pay $135 plus $135 on Christian McCaffrey to score a first half touchdown. We also have a $50 wager.
Hold on a second. Are you just rifling through everything?
Yeah, you can interrupt me at any time.
Yeah, I'd like to interrupt you. All right. Because I got some Christian McCaffrey action there. And so just to confirm, so far you got Chiefs +2 and then McCaffrey first half touchdown.
McCaffrey to score a first half touchdown, which is plus 135.
Okay. So I bet on McCaffrey to be the first touchdown score for the 49ers. First team touchdown score, right? Not in the game.
Yeah.
Plus 165.
Dickhead. You can get to all your bets when I'm done. Okay.
Oh, that's how you want to do it? You want to just rifle
Yeah,
through yours?
dude.
Do it.
Like I'm in a good flow. I'm trying to give the listeners and the viewers what my plays are, you know?
But like the flow is only as good as like that with a Taylor Swift shirt. Like how good is the flow with the Taylor Swift shirt?
Bro, you can honestly interrupt me at any time, but I'm just going to rifle through these. I have $100 on Christian McCaffrey plus 135 to score a touchdown in the first half. I'm taking a long shot on Deebo Samuel to win the MVP. I know historically it goes to a quarterback, but I just think the electric nature of his talent is such that there's some value on him at 20 to 1. $50 on Deebo Samuel to be the MVP to pay $1,000. The aforementioned prop on Patrick Mahomes passing yards. I think they're going to realize success through the air. 115 to pay 100 on Mahomes over 260 and a half passing yards. Bet number 5. Also minus 115, $115 on Patrick Mahomes under half an interception. I don't believe Patrick Mahomes is going to throw an interception unless it is on a batted ball. Bet number 6, back to Christian McCaffrey. Minus 145, so a little bit of a heavy price here, but 145 to pay 100, over 33 and a half receiving yards for Christian McCaffrey. Big bet, my biggest bet, $230 to pay 200. Brock Purdy over 12 and a half rushing yards. Then we have 115 to pay 100 on Christian McCaffrey to rush for more than 3.5 yards on his first rushing attempt. And we close it out with a $12 bet on the coin toss, and we're going tails.
So that's how you want to do that. Just rifle through all this stuff. So you have Deebo to win the MVP, but the Chiefs to win the game. Right?
Yes, but largely a lot of my action is on Christian McCaffrey to play well, to have a huge game, and on Patrick Mahomes to play mistake-free football and realize more success through the air than maybe they have for much of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of your action, but, you know, talking about being in a flow when it's like you basically just like threw up out of your mouth at me all these propositions. So mine are in a little more organized fashion.
Outstanding. Right? We love your prep. I mean, you've been prepared all year.
But so the San Francisco side, obviously we want to have propositions on both sides of the game. So my San Francisco action, right? So Christian McCaffrey plus 165, first team touchdown score, meaning he'll score the first touchdown for his team, 100 to pay 165. Christian McCaffrey Super Bowl MVP plus 475.
Wow.
70 to pay 332.50. I just sort of think that if San Francisco gets it done, that maybe it's him, and he sort of gets, you know, if they're going to, if he gets that first touchdown, and, you know, everyone think what they think about Purdy. I don't know.
I think there's a lot of value on Christian McCaffrey to win the Super Bowl MVP.
I also have another bet on a Chiefs player to win the MVP that I'll get to, but I'm staying on my 49ers action. My largest wager, $300, Deebo Samuel plus 130, anytime touchdown score. You know, he can do it rushing or receiving. It's like he's been banged up a little bit. I almost went with George Kittle here. It's like Deebo Samuel in the Super Bowl. I just think he's going to score a touchdown. So I like that plus 130 as my big play, 300 to pay 390. I fucking, excuse my language, I hate to say it. I guess I do lean Chiefs to win the game. So that's going to dictate a lot of my remaining action moving forward. So Kelsey to score and the Chiefs to win, plus 230. Right. I think Mahomes looks for him. Okay. Taylor Swift is there. They want to win the game, but Mahomes is so good that I do believe he has the luxury at times of like choosing who scores. This might have been more true back in 2022, but I absolutely think that Kelsey's going to be a big part of this if they win. I think he's going to be looking for him at the goal line. So I like that. Kelsey to score and the Chiefs to win, sort of getting plus 230 on the game. I just feel like Kelsey's going to get in the end zone if they win the game. So that's 100 to pay 230 there. because I like the Chiefs, I'm doing the halftime full time. Chiefs plus 195. I have them leading at the half and winning the game. For me, I do think there's a chance that maybe things get a little shaky with the 49ers. I do. However, I'm not going to bet a lot on this game straight up one way or another. So plus 195, that's 100 to pay 195. Chiefs to lead at the half and win the game. My final two bets. Isaiah Pacheco over 65.5 rushing yards, 230 to pay 200. Pretty large wager. I just think that the 49ers are weak against the run. I think that they find a way to do this. So Isaiah Pacheco over 65.5 yards.
I like that.
230 to pay 200. So that's another large play for me. And with the 251st pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Isaiah Pacheco, running back, Rutgers, 28-1 to win the MVP. He scored touchdown in 3 straight games, carried the load. We know this Chiefs teams you alluded to before is not this passing juggernaut. They're all about their defense. If Isaiah Pacheco breaks one and maybe scores a couple touchdowns, I don't think it's crazy for him to be the MVP. So that's 28-1, another 100 there to pay 2,800. That wraps up 1,000 for me.
Couple other things I'll say on the way out. I did place a bet on George Kittle to be the Super Bowl MVP at the beginning of the playoffs at 150-1.
Wow.
So that's 20 to pay $3,000, probably 20 to pay zero, but I do think George Kittle's going to have a good game. And, I'm probably going to end up on a lot of Deebo Samuel props, right? Over 58.5 receiving yards, over 4.5 receptions right now is juiced to minus 135. But I think we're aligned on Deebo Samuel having a big game. And it is going to be a fascinating Super Bowl. It feels chalky a little bit. I would have liked to maybe have seen Lamar Jackson in a Super Bowl to just maybe change my overall appetite for the game. But to Sam Monson's point off the top of the show, I think we could be staring down the barrel at one of the all-time great Super Bowls.
And regardless of what the Kansas City Chiefs may have accomplished during the regular season, right? The absolute class of the American Football Conference, you beat Miami, Buffalo and Baltimore. Regardless of what Miami was, regardless of that game being in a deep freeze or whatever it was, you beat the 3 best teams in the AFC to get here. I just think it's house money in a lot of ways. I will say on the way out, we're in a situation where John had some nice action on San Francisco to win the Super Bowl at plus 470 and plus 280 in one of our accounts. So we're dancing this hedge game right now where we're sort of tying Kansas City to a lot of our action right now. I've bought it up to 3.5 points with Kansas City tied to a lot of action. But the more I like Kansas City in the game, the more I want to get that hedge almost to possibly even wash it out. So lots to talk about. Anything else before we close season 2? Anik, motherfucking squared.
No, I just want to thank everybody. DraftKings Sportsbook and Toyo Tires are great partners. Thanks to everybody for tuning into the show. I think we went 32 games combined above 500, picking 5 games against the spread every week for the 18-week NFL regular season. And as God is my witness, I hope we're back for season 3. But thank you for all your effort. Of course, our executive producer, Cody Merrow. And that's it, man. I got to go watch some girls soccer and try to not get canceled on that soccer pitch right now. So
we appreciate you all being with us. For my brother, the voice of the UFC, Jon Anik, my name is Jason Anik, and Cody Merrow at the helm, our wonderful executive producer. We appreciate you as always. Hope to see you back for season 3 of Anik Squared. We appreciate you. Enjoy the big game. Peace.
Not this again.
All right, Dom, bit of a slow start for Griffin. Give him some time. Forrest is making his approach here, Dom.
He still hasn't found his flow.
Oh, things are heating up. Oh, it's on now.
Unbelievable.
Forrest goes for the left hook.
Oh,
He's showing off a lot of stamina.
he's not letting up.
So where are we headed, Forrest?
Really, guys? Get a hobby.
You are the hobby.